This meeting is being recorded.
Good morning. Thank you for all being here. I would like to call the Legislative and Budget Committee to order. And Natalie, if we could have a roll call.
Of course. Reese Isbell?
Here.
Megan Ellis?
Present.
Colette Kavanaugh?
Here.
Callie Mae Pham?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Terrific. Thank you. And it's good to see you all again. Now, next we have potential approval of the minutes from our last meeting in February. Does anyone have any comments? I have one comment. Otherwise, does anyone else? All right. There's one word that kind of stuck out to me a bit. In section 2, during my opening remarks, in the paragraph 2, second sentence, the word admitted sounds kind of strong to me, and I'd just like to change that maybe to felt or believed, if that's comfortable with folks. All right, with that, do I have a motion to approve?
This is Board Member Pham. I would move to approve the February 13, 2023 minutes.
I'll second that.
With that change?
Yes, with the one change suggested by Member Isbell.
Thank you. All right, do we have a motion to approve and a second. We go to public comment.
All right, this is the moderator and at the direction of the committee, I've opened up the Q&A feature for public comment. Members of the public, if you would like to make a comment on this item, please click the Q&A icon located at the bottom right-hand corner of your WebEx screen or use the raise hand function. And it appears there are no requests for public comment. Would you like me to close that Q&A panel?
Yes, please. Are we closed?
Oh, yes, we are.
Okay, great. Next item on our agenda, I will turn it over to Christy to talk about our budget fee.
Oh, I think we need to vote.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, let's vote on that motion and second. Call the vote.
Reese Isbell?
Yes.
Megan Ellis?
Yes.
Colette Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Callie Mae Pham?
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, thank you very much. So now I will turn it over to Christy to provide a review of the current budget.
All right, good morning. So within your packets, we have 2 items. We have our internal budget projections. This is the first chart, and that shows our allotment and our projected expenditures, and then what we would have our end of year balance. We obviously are having a lot of salary savings right now because we still have quite a few vacant positions that we haven't been able to fill. So again, we have a healthy budget. This second page is our fund condition. This is what is published in the governor's budget. So you can see the very bottom row shows our months in reserve. Those are very significant months in reserve. And that is, of course, leads into the next item that we'll be talking about, which is our fee study and why we're doing a fee study. But unless there's any questions specific to the budget, it's, again, obviously a healthy budget. So we're one of the boards that our DCA budget office doesn't pay, super close attention to, because we do have that healthy budget that supports our operations.
Any comments on or questions? We don't need a motion on that, correct?
Yeah.
All right. Do we need public comment?
Yes.
All right. Well, Hearing no questions or comments from members, I'll open it to public comment.
This is the moderator, and at the direction of the committee, I have opened up the Q&A feature for public comment. Members of the public, if you would like to make a comment on this item, please click the Q&A icon located at the bottom right-hand corner of your WebEx screen or use the raise hand function. I'll pause a moment to allow the public time to access these features and submit their requests. All right, and seeing none, would you like me to close that Q&A panel?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay.
And so we can move to the next agenda item, which is our fee study status. If Christy would like to provide an update on that.
I sure will. So you can see that there's not anything in your packet. So our fee study is in process. It is extensive work that we're having to do. And unfortunately, we have lost our budget position. So that position is vacant, who would normally be handling this workload. Our budget analyst retired a few weeks back. We're hoping to have that position filled. So in the meantime, we have our management staff who is slowly working on this fee study project. We are close to at least having all of our data and our spreadsheets in a sense put together to determine what our fees actually should be. In doing that, what we've had to do is we've had to look at our licensing workload processes. So we've had to basically figure out how long it takes for every step in licensing to be processed. So from an application to a re-exam to opening the mail to sorting the mail. Again, because our volume is so high, this is a full-time position. Like we have full-time people that are just having to sort the mail in our office, which is what comes to us after it's been through DCA's mailroom. So all of our work is amplified at Barber Cosmo because of our volume. So we have figured out all those processing times. And now we're actually going through and putting the classification of who completes each of those tasks. And by doing that, then we'll have what it costs the board to actually process an application or do all the work that's in licensing as opposed to just processing that application. And then we'll be able to look at the volumes and establish what our fee should be. We have to look at our examination contracts. We have to look at printing contracts, then plug that all in and we'll have a dollar amount. We are close to having that dollar amount. We think it's at least 3 to 4 months off before we have something final that we will be able to show you because of the amount of work that's involved. And when you see all of our widgets that we have put together, you'll see the amount of work that it takes. And obviously we just don't have staff that stops what they're currently doing in order to put all of this together for us. So it's been a long process. We've actually been working on it for at least a year at this point, if not longer. But we are very close to having some firm data to make a recommendation to this committee on what our fees should be set at. So hopefully in the next few months, you'll start to see some of that information coming your way.
Do we have a sense of timing regarding the positions being filled?
Our licensing positions, no, we don't. It's just so hit and miss with filling positions. I believe they interviewed for some positions recently and there weren't any candidates that were eligible. So we're going to have to repost. We have some positions that we've had to repost 3 different times. Our budget analyst is on its second go round of being posted to get candidates. It's still something we're trying to get used to because normally at the state, if you post a position, we used to get just huge stacks of applications in, and now we're getting 6 and 7 applications. So really? It's a struggle, but we are hopeful that we actually have some potential candidates for these positions so that they will be filled, I'm hoping, within 6 weeks.
Is that regular in Sacramento of late, that we have less applications for budget
Yes.
analysts and stuff? Interesting.
For all of our positions, and not just us. We're hearing it through all state agencies, actually. So, not sure why, but we definitely have. I've been hearing it from other boards, from the department, from other departments, that they're all struggling with candidates.
Interesting.
Yes.
There's a whole bunch of tech employees who are on layoffs right now, in the Bay Area in particular. If there's specific outreach we want to do to financial people. But yeah, no, that's interesting. Sorry to hear that.
We have been doing some outreach with some colleges. So Danielle had connected us with Sac State. And so we've done a couple of really good meet the employer events. And so we're hoping that might generate some potential candidates that want to come work for us.
I know this is an aside, but do you all use Daybook, or is it specifically through state channels?
We use Indeed and Handshake, which is new for the state. They never have used any of those before. It's always just been through the California Department of Human Resources, where you have to go take an exam and get on a list. So only recently, maybe in the past year, we started using Indeed and Handshake, and we're haven't been very successful, but we're still trying.
Never heard of Handshake. I know when I was looking for a job, and a lot of colleagues in my world of policy and budget analysts and stuff looked at Daybook.
Okay.
But just as an aside, I always found Daybook very helpful. But now I have a job. So anyway, moving on. Does anyone have any other comments or questions on this item before we move to public comment?
No questions, but I appreciate all the work that staff has done on this. I believe that it is an enormous undertaking. So thank you so much for the update. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, with that, I'll move to public comment.
This is the moderator, and at the direction of the committee, I have opened up the Q&A feature for public comment. Members of the public, if you would like to make a comment on this item, please click the Q&A icon located at the bottom right-hand corner of your WebEx screen, or use the raise hand function. And I'll pause a moment to allow the public time to access these features and submit their requests. All right, and seeing none, would you like me to close the Q&A panel?
Yes, please. Thank you. With that, I'll move on to the next agenda item. Christy, if you could guide us through the legislative bills that we have before us today.
I sure will. So there are 3 bills on the agenda today. Only one of them will require your action. So I'll just give a brief update on the 2 that do not require action, and that is SB 384, which is currently a spot bill. We believe that this will be the bill that will carry our remedial education. We had Senator Bradford's office reached out to us because they were very interested in this. So I've had some conversations with that office. So we're hoping to have a remedial education bill coming through the Senate soon. No language yet, but it is, we anticipate it coming. The second bill is AB 1328 by Assemblymember Gibson, who we believe will be carrying the cosmetology compact language. Again, that is not in print yet, but I have also had contact with his office, and hopefully in the next, probably in the next couple of weeks, we should see both of those bills have some language. So our next legislation and budget committee, which is right before our board meeting, we should have some language for this committee to look at and make a recommendation on those bills to the board. So that's our plan, hoping that happens with those two as we move forward on those. And then we do have SB 451 by Senator Nguyen. This is a bill that doesn't impact us at all in our operations, but it does impact our licensees. This is the bill for worker classification, and it is the bill is in your packet. This bill is in response to a prior bill that changed worker classification. So it all had to do with the independent contractors designating themselves as independent contractors. And a bill was created that exempted our licensees from that designation. What happened was there was an exemption, except for manicurists were only exempted for a certain amount of time. And so there was a prior bill that was introduced with this exact same language, and the board supported it then. So we wanted to bring this back to this committee. It is to remove that exemption date. So it would basically make manicurists be in the exact same area as all of our other types of licensees. So it removes that sunset date, if you will, from the labor laws. So that being said, again, it doesn't impact any of our operations. However, it is completely impact to our manicuring licensees. And should this committee decide to support that, I think it would be a valuable position for our board to pursue.
Thank you. Have we, us or DCA, generally talked with Senator Nguyen about this bill?
Yes. Senator Nguyen has been very active in our industry. She represents the Orange County area. She has a very large population of Vietnamese licensees in schools. So I've had various conversations with the senator, not recently on this bill, but on her message of this bill. I've had conversations with her several times.
And is this, I think in the write-up you did, it mentioned that this would bring us in line with other parts of DCA that were looking for an extension. Am I reading that right?
Other parts of it would bring us in line with our other licensees. So it would bring manicurists in line with our other licensees.
Okay. And can you give me an example of those other licensees? Like the
cosmetologists, they're not included. They didn't have a date where their exemption ended. So they'll always be exempt from the what they call the ABC test. And so this will make it so that manicurists are treated the same as a cosmetologist, estheticians, barbers, and electrologists.
And I was thinking of other licenses outside of Barber Cosmo. Are there others that are along these lines too? Or do we?
I don't think so.
Okay. Have we heard anything from labor or other legislators in concern with this concept?
No.
Okay. Thank you, Anne, for answering all my questions. Does anyone have any questions or comments on this? Do I have a motion on this bill?
I motion to approve.
This is Member Pham. I would second.
So just to clarify.
Oh, go ahead.
Sabina.
Sorry, Christy. We're all great minds think alike, right?
Go ahead.
Sorry. The possibilities before you today are to recommend to the full board to support the bill, to support if amended, to oppose the bill, oppose unless amended. Those type of options are available to us today for the recommendation to the full board.
Thank you. So going back to Colette.
I recommend support with the full board.
And I would second that. Thank you.
All right, we have a motion and a second. We'll move to public comment.
This is the moderator and at the direction of the committee. I've opened up the Q&A feature for public comment. Members of the public, if you would like to make a comment on this item, please click the Q&A icon located at the bottom right-hand corner of your WebEx screen or use the raise hand function. And it looks like we have a couple requests for public comments. So I'll go in the order that they were received. First, I have Fred Jones. Fred, you'll be given 2 minutes to speak and a 15-second warning. Please click the unmute me button when the prompt appears on your device.
Good morning, committee. Fred Jones on behalf of the Professional Beauty Federation in support of your recommendation to the board to support this bill. Thank you.
All right, this is the moderator. We will move on to our next individual who has requested public comment, Wendy Cochran. And Wendy, you'll be given 2 minutes to speak and a 15-second warning. Please click the unmute me button when the prompt appears on your device.
Thank you very much. Wendy Cochran, California Aesthetic Alliance. Neglected from this meeting is apparently SB 247. That went to committee on March 8th. That is serving alcohol in a salon. I noticed that there's. It says if the establishment is in good standing with the board, they can serve a beer or a glass of wine, but it doesn't say anything about the licensee. So that may be considered. Also, there is an end time, which is 10 p.m., but there's no opening time that is in that language. The language in this bill seems to be a little bit haphazard. But
this is the moderator. I apologize. The comment isn't relevant to the motion. If you have a comment relevant to the motion, you can continue. If not, I'll have to ask that we move on and we do that public comment during public comment, not on the agenda.
Well, I'll bring that up as an agenda item or public comment.
Okay. So you also asked about support for the other bill, which was Wynn's bill. And you asked about labor and if labor had an opinion on it. I had a private conversation through Facebook on June 23rd of 2019 at 5:52 a.m. with Lorena Gonzalez Fletcher, who is the author of AB 5. And in her original statement about the licensed manicurists is, our big heartburn is nail technicians because of the mass worker exploitation amongst immigrant nail salons. And she goes on to some other things in that comment. Not everyone in California is an exploited worker and trafficked in the state of California. We really support this bill finally going through and that manicurists be allowed the exemption. There are a lot of places right now that are
15 seconds.
That are studio salons. There are also independent manicurists that are in big hair salons, and we would like them to be treated with equity, just like the rest of us.
All right, this is the moderator. We'll move on to our next individual who has requested public comment, Jamie Schrebeck. And Jamie, you'll be given 2 minutes to speak and a 15-second warning. Please click the unmute me button when the prompt appears on your device.
Thank you. As a licensed manicurist and salon owner myself, this is long overdue, and we'd be grateful for that support because then finally manicurists will be included with all the other license types, and we could move on with the certainty that having businesses that involve independent contractors are able to survive. Thank you.
All right, this is the moderator. It appears that was our last request for public comment. Would you like me to close the Q&A panel?
Yes, please. Thank you.
All right.
So we have a motion and a second before us specific to this bill. Could we call the roll?
Reese Isbell,
Yes.
Megan Ellis,
Yes.
Colette Kavanaugh,
Yes.
Callie Mae Pham.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right. Thank you very much. Now we can move to the next agenda item, which we may have public comment on, related to public comment on items that were not on the agenda. And so we'll open it up to that.
All right, this is the moderator, and at the direction of the committee, I've opened up the Q&A feature for public comment. Members of the public, if you would like to make a comment for items not on the agenda, please click the Q&A icon located at the bottom right-hand corner of your WebEx screen or use the raise hand function. It looks like we have a request from Wendy Cochran. Wendy, you'll be given 2 minutes to speak and a 15-second warning. Please click the unmute me button when the prompt appears on your device.
Oh, hey, long time no chat. SB 247 is not included in your agenda on this legislative committee meeting. It was referred to committee on March 8th, so that would have been sometime last week. This is the serving of a beer or wine in an establishment. Some of the language of this bill is a little bit loose. But we do appreciate, since we had a Lash Studio at one point be denied ability to serve beer and wine in their establishment because they were not a barbershop or a beauty salon, as as previous language had. You're missing the standing of the licensee providing the beverage to their client, not just the establishment status with the board. And also, if you're going to have an end time, you should probably have an opening time other than just during business hours, because in previous committees, as we all talk about right now, a lot of us are by appointment only. So if I'm out there and I'm serving, I'm seeing a client at 5 a.m., because they're very busy and I want to, and they're asking for a drink of wine. Is that something that you guys want to have out in your morning commute? So if you could make sure that you include that in your agenda items, that would be fantastic. Thank you very much.
All right, this is the moderator. Appears there are no further requests for public comment. Would you like me to close that Q&A panel?
Yes, please. Thank you. We'll move to the next agenda item, which is potential future agenda items for this committee. Do I have any comments or questions from folks? Okay, I'm not hearing any. Do we need public comment on that, or we've done that at this point?
The public can suggest items for future agendas.
Okay, so we'll open up to public comment then.
All right, this is the moderator, and at the direction of the committee, I have opened up the Q&A feature for public comment. Members of the public, if you would like to make a comment on this item, please click the Q&A icon located at the bottom right-hand corner of your WebEx screen or use the raise hand function. I'll pause a moment to allow the public time to access these features and submit their requests. All right, and seeing none, would you like me to close the Q&A panel?
Yes, please. Thank you. And on that note, our next committee meeting is on April 10th, which is right before the next board meeting, which is April 17th. So we will have a busy April, and we can look at new bills, any bills, and updates on bills and so forth at that next meeting. So look forward to seeing everyone. I think we can adjourn.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.